guys, welcome to Brian's Man Cave. For today's flick pick, I've decided on a movie that I've seen many times, and I mean ever since the first time I've seen it, I was completely hooked on this movie, and that is Tombstone. Actually, this is the VHS. I bought this one I don't even remember. I bought it so long ago, and I've seen it so many times, and it's one of those few movies where I said, I have to have the DVD, so I bought the DVD as well, and this one actually is, Vista series. I'm not sure what that is. Anyways, it's a really nice design and packaging on this one. It folds out, opens up. Even the, poor dock is upside down. Even the DVDs are nice looking. That, of course, is Doc Holliday, my favorite. But anyways, I mean, Tombstone is based on a really, interesting period of time. Obviously during the Wild West period, Wyatt Earp's days, and it's not the only movie, obviously, to be based on that event and the whole OK Corral. There's been many of them. In fact, Tombstone, I believe there was 50s, 60s. There was a Tombstone movie as well. Burt Lancaster, I believe, was in it, based on the same events and stuff. And around the same time that this movie was released, there was another movie called Wyatt Earp, and that's with Kevin Costner in it. I seen Wyatt Earp. Actually, it took me a while to actually see the whole movie because it's really long. It's a little bit of slow pacing, not as action-packed as Tombstone is, and it's a little thorough. I mean, it's really just based on Wyatt Earp, and that's about it. And there's a section of the movie which covers when he gets to Tombstone, which pretty much is a lot of the scenes in this movie. But this one really, I mean, Tombstone, the movie, it really focuses in on that one period of time, just around the time when Wyatt Earp rolls into Tombstone and starts to, stir up some problems with the local cowboys. And of course that ensues into the OK Corral fight, which then moves on to the Vendetta, and all the way through that just historical piece of time. And they've done a really good job in actually looking through history, looking through the time, the magazine articles, the journals, things that Wyatt Earp wrote himself, to really piece together what exactly happened during that time. There's a few things in it that are historically wrong. And in fact, a lot of it, they're going to speculate anyways, right? Because even if they have as historical as they can get it, a lot of times it's just theories. And so, they're not always going to be accurate. But I mean, that's not what's important. I mean, what's important is the movie itself and the way it's shot. I mean, every scene in this movie, it's captivating. It keeps you going. There's a lot of, there's no real downtime as far as the scenes go. Like, it's not slow pacing at all. Even to the gunfight at the OK Corral, which in most movies that portray that period of time, they often do go overboard on the what exactly happened there. Now in this movie, they really looked at from what people said happened, and they based it on the way that the guys that were killed and where they were shot, and they kind of recreated it as best as they could. The only difference is they extended it. The actual OK Corral fight was, I think, about 8 seconds or something like that, whereas in this movie it's about 3 minutes long. So you got the cowboys flying around, you got the Wyatt Earp and Doc Holliday and all this like dramatical stuff happening, and really it didn't go down that way. But oftentimes with movies, real life is never as interesting as what a drama can do. There is some violence in the movie. There's some, but not overly, grotesque violence or anything like that. It's exactly what you would expect. People getting shot, people getting killed. The primary focus of the movie, though, is to illustrate how Doc Holliday and Wyatt Earp were so close together, and the things that they did together. It's really just kind of puts those two on the perspective. Also, kind of showing the brothers as well, which don't really get a lot of airtime, I guess, when it comes to the older movies. You know, Wyatt Earp is the one that everybody remembers. Doc Holliday is the one that everybody remembers. So this movie gives its fair share to Virgil and Morgan Earp. The bad guys, obviously, again, they put a lot of historical accuracy on the characters, and they tried to dig into what really these guys would have been like. And the actors that they used were just brilliant. Speaking of the actors, Kurt Russell made a great Wyatt Earp. And I think that that's the problem with the Kevin Costner one, is that Kevin Costner doesn't really come across that kind of, the type of person you would have expected Wyatt Earp to be. He's a little more soft-spoken, not as aggressive looking, not as, Kurt Russell was very commanding in this performance. I mean, the look in his eyes, I mean, he just, like, instilled fear in people when he stared at them. And, he had that mannerism to him that just kind of screamed that this guy is a badass. Now, whether that's exactly how Wyatt Earp was in the past, I mean, it's kind of a blurred line. They say he wasn't that aggressive, and, in a lot of cases, some people actually believe that Wyatt Earp wasn't as great a hero as people kind of made him out to be. But that's what we have to expect with historical dramas, right? We're always going to make people a hero, even though they might not be. And speaking on that term, the whole Doc Holliday, which Val Kilmer nailed the role completely. And, he was the reason why I really loved this movie. And Val Kilmer himself, I mean, he's done some great movies. He's done some great acting. I mean, look at him in The Doors. Like, he played Jim Morrison, and you almost forget that it's actually Val Kilmer. There's been odd movies that he's been in. We're not going to talk really about the Batman one, but I mean, he's pretty good as an actor. So, taking on the role of Doc Holliday. Now, again, they kind of made him a hero, and Doc Holliday in real life, I don't think he was like that. And a lot of a lot of articles and things that I've read, and some of the YouTube videos that I've checked out about the real Doc Holliday, he was more of just a gambler, more of just a drinker. Didn't exactly have that surefire shot that he had in the movie. But I mean, again, they needed to build a great character, and that's what they did. They built a great character. And then again with the historical inaccuracies, he did have tuberculosis, which was true, but they kind of make it seem that I guess near the end of the movie, just before Holliday passes away, they made it look like Wyatt Earp was there by his bedside, which historically, through documents and stuff, no. Wyatt Earp was not even near the area where Doc Holliday died. He wasn't in that sanatorium. Another thing is that during those gunfights and stuff, and the way they portrayed Holliday, he would have been a lot more frail, a lot, with the condition he had to, he wouldn't have been as firm as he was in the movie. So there's a little bit of that twist in there as well. And the other thing that they had that was a little bit, not inaccurate, but improbable, is the scene with Johnny Ringo at the end, where Doc Holliday shows up and, has the gunfight with Ringo. Now, there's been a lot of speculation on Johnny Ringo's death. I think the consensus is most likely he killed himself, because he was by a tree, he had the gun in his hand, the bullet was in the head, so he probably shot himself in the head. Now, that was the consensus. But there has been other theories that he actually got into a gunfight with maybe Wyatt Earp or maybe Doc Holliday. Again, historically, if you're looking at it, Wyatt Earp was very far away from, he wasn't there anymore. He wasn't around that area when Johnny Ringo was found. And Doc Holliday was just too sick. Like, there's just no way someone in his condition who was literally dying from tuberculosis could have got out of his bed and got on a horse and rode down there and actually shot this man. So, I mean, but it's great storytelling, and it's a really great ending to the movie. I mean, it just nails it perfectly. And yeah, I mean, the movie, I love it. I don't even know how many times I've seen it, and every time I see it, I'm still fascinated by it. The wardrobes are great. The clothing looks like it really looks like something they would have worn. In fact, from the scenes, there's some behind the scenes stuff in this one here, and the making of it. And they said that the clothing that they used was actually authentic clothing from that time period. So they didn't use like today's material to reconstruct these uniforms. They actually were wearing stuff that they would have wore in that time frame. So when they were sweating and when they were like, you know, all in that those heavy cotton clothing or whatever material it was real. And the other thing that was real, which is amazing, is they all grew their own mustaches. So whatever came out of their face, that was what they used. They didn't have to like glue on all these fake, you know, mustaches and stuff. And so it was kind of like one of those jokes in you know, during the filming of, you know, who can grow the mustache and you know, so when you're looking at Kurt Russell there, that's his real stash. And we all know this now because he's in that movie, what was it, The Crazy Eight or something like that. There's a movie he was just in, a Quentin Tarantino movie, and he has almost the identical mustache there. So, you know, we know it's real. But anyways, yeah, let me know what you think of the movie, because I certainly love the movie. I'm definitely going to keep the VHS tape, even if I don't ever watch it on VHS again. It just looks cool. And Doc Holliday is still my favorite character. Well, living, dead character, whatever. Anyways, hope you liked the video. Let me know what you think of Tombstone. Do you like any other westerns? Young Guns is cool. And hope you subscribe and leave a comment below. Talk to you later.